Spring break is a time of year when people come together to escape routine, enjoy the beach, the parties, and of course, make the most of life. For many, it's the perfect moment to relax and have endless fun. But have you ever stopped to think that behind this facade of fun, mysteries and dangers may be lurking that we never imagined? Today, you will hear spring break stories that will turn your world upside down. Stories of trips that start with the best of plans and suddenly turn into terrifying adventures, with strange encounters and life-threatening situations. Get ready to uncover a side of spring break you may have never imagined. Let's begin our journey and explore what these trips really hide. I remember it like it was yesterday. My son, with that sparkle in his eyes, planning his trip to Hawaii for spring break. He was excited, full of expectations, and it took me back in time. I, too, had my spring break moments, and in my case, it was during college, when the only plan was to have fun. For my son, the trip to Hawaii represented that carefree freedom, where all that mattered was living in the moment. Now seeing him with that excitement to explore the beaches, make new friends, and experience what is considered the ultimate spring break, I started reminiscing about my own youth. I, too, sought limitless fun, partied until dawn, and traveled without many responsibilities. That time was a milestone for me, a period when the only concerns were the next destination or the next thrill. The truth is, spring break is much more than just a trip. For me, it was a rite of passage. In Hawaii, my son would not only explore new places, but also mature, learn, and grow. And for me, as I recalled my own journey, I realized that these experiences aren't just about the scenery or the fleeting fun. They're about the moments that shape our lives, the friendships we make, and above all, the memories that last. If you've ever had this experience, you know exactly what I'm talking about. Speaking of life-changing trips, I can't help but remember when I went to Puerto Rico with my girlfriend, Maria. The trip wasn't just about the destination, but about the experience of meeting her family. I was nervous, of course. Meeting someone's parents, especially on such an important trip, always brings that anxiety. Imagine the pressure, right? But what happened there was a true transformation. I was hesitant, trying to please and impress, and soon realized that the key to feeling comfortable was simply being myself. Maria's family welcomed me with such warmth that my nerves quickly disappeared. You see, traveling isn't just about what you see, but about the people you meet along the way. In Puerto Rico, I realized that travel has a much deeper meaning. It teaches us about what truly matters: human connection, the bonds we create, and the experiences we share. It wasn't just a trip to an exotic place, but a chance to build something lasting with the people around me. When you travel to an unfamiliar destination, you're also exploring the cultures, values, and stories of the people there. Puerto Rico taught me a great lesson. Traveling is a way to connect with the world around you in ways you never imagined. The fear and anxiety of those first few hours turned into moments of warmth and learning, something I carry with me to this day. I will never forget that hike through the El Yunque rainforest, the only tropical rainforest in the United States. It was a magical place, surrounded by towering trees and vibrant vegetation. The idea of walking through it seemed like an incredible adventure. However, as we approached a closed-off trail, the restricted area sign didn't stop us from going forward. At the time, it seemed harmless. After all, what could possibly go wrong, right? But as often happens, what seemed like just an impulsive decision quickly turned into an experience that left a lasting impression. With each step we took, fear started creeping in. We knew something wasn't right, but there was no turning back. And then we came across a decapitated mongoose lying in the middle of the path. the shock was so intense that it made us stop and question what we were doing there. The narrator, trying to rationalize, attempted to stay calm, but deep inside, the tension was rising. Remember, adventure is one thing, but ignoring warnings and limits can lead to unexpected consequences. In that moment, we learned that curiosity, when it turns into recklessness, can put us in very dangerous situations. And the worst was yet to come, because as always, nature has its own mysteries, and we're not always prepared for what it reveals. That image of the decapitated mongoose stayed with me the entire time. What seemed like just a sudden accident turned into something far more sinister when we found the animal's body hanging from a tree. It felt like we were being watched, like something or someone was behind this. I tried to calm Maria, but the fear wouldn't go away. The atmosphere was tense, heavy, as if the forest was hiding secrets we couldn't understand. The feeling of unease and danger only grew stronger. Strangely enough, as we continued, it felt like the forest was leading us deeper into a more isolated place. It was as if everything around us was saying, "You shouldn't be here." Nature has a way of confronting us with the unknown, and at that moment, I realized that the real adventure wasn't just what was happening around me, but what was happening inside me. Feeling fear and pushing forward anyway was one of the greatest lessons I ever learned. The climax of our hike was the scream. It was so intense that we ran without looking back, without understanding what was happening. The adrenaline hit us so suddenly that we could barely think. When we finally made it out of the trail, breathless and terrified, we looked back and saw nothing. No presence, nothing that could explain that scream echoing in our ears. The fear we felt didn't fade away. But strangely, when we spoke to a park worker and told him what had happened, we felt a sense of relief. He took the story seriously, but unfortunately, we never heard of any investigation into what occurred. It made me reflect on how fear, even when irrational, can feel extremely real. Sometimes it comes from an intuition warning us to stay alert. And what I learned at that moment is that we should always listen to that inner voice. It has far more wisdom than we realize. These spring break stories aren't just about fun and parties. They're about the challenges we face and the lessons we learn when confronted with the unknown. Sometimes, what starts as a harmless adventure can turn into an experience that teaches us to trust our intuition and be more aware of the signs around us. And the biggest lesson: the world is full of mysteries, and every trip, every destination is an opportunity to grow, learn, and maybe even lose yourself to find yourself. If you're curious to hear more, stay tuned, because the next video will surprise you even more with new stories of unexpected adventures.